Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, gamers of all stripes, my name is Josh. Welcome one, welcome all, off to Dead Men Streaming. It is good to have you guys over here with us tonight. Alright, so here's the deal. First, I've got to get things working on my end, and they are not yet. So let's start with that problem. Okay, theoretically, we have game. But do we have the rest? We do not have the rest. My overlays are not overlaying. Let me fix that a little bit, shall we? Okay. We are in this scene. We're in Cities Skylines too. Well, looks like I may have overdone it on my end. So proud of myself. I had set up. Why aren't you showing? Show. Show. Yes, me. Show. Show me. Show me over top of that. Hold on one second. My friends, we are... Huh? I do not know why this is not doing this. Got this to work just fine yesterday. Twitch chat's on. Twitch chat should be displaying. Twitch chat is absolutely 100% not displaying as an overlay. Huh. Now it's showing. Now it's not. And hey, there's my lovely face. Or my face. We'll call it my face. Alright, oh, there's my setup, so hello to the infinity out there. Alright, well, you guys didn't come on here to see me futz around with this for the next 20 minutes. Why are you not? Come on, move up in order? There we go. Then by that, then you should, there we go, we got our orders briefly set up to look correct. There they go. There. Okay, here we are. So now you can finally see my face when I'm playing a game. I don't know why you would want to, but now you can. You can also see the Twitch chat on screen, so in case this eventually makes it off to wherever, we can see it on there too. And hopefully I'm not murdering you guys with the audio, because I am set up with a couple of different things, and I really shouldn't be facing the phone when I talk to you now. I should be facing right about in here. Hi there. Hey, you. How you doing? It's good to see you here. Alright then. If you missed my first stream on this, this is Cities Skylines 2, released by Paradox Interactive back in 2023 in October, with a less than stellar launch. And while they have made some outstandingly great changes to the games that I am very, 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 very happy with over the last few months, including the last two in particular, this game does take a little bit of effort to get used to, does take a little bit of work, does take a little bit of a lot of things. And I'm going to be upfront about a few things real fast. My graphic settings are a little low because I'm running a webcam, because I'm running a stream, because I'm doing this, and because I've got an old graphics card. Your graphics are going to look better than mine. I can almost guarantee you on that. I do not have the tanky system that I wish I had to do this. The other side of that is that this game is just very bland. It is a bland game when you are scrolled out. There's, I don't know. There's much that could have... I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So, let's bring you on where we're at right now. We are a level 3 city. We've unlocked just the very basics that we need to make our city happy. We've got some farms going. We did I don't want to call it an exploit, but we have a way to put down the farm special signature building for dairy. We have a minor bit of industry up and running up here. We have unlocked large roundabouts. We just put in a large school over here, but we haven't done anything to boost it. And, you know, the other reason I think the graphics are a little off is because I just updated my graphics drivers because they didn't look this bad a couple of days ago. Let me take a look in settings really fast. I'm probably going to be cursing. Hmm? Resolution's the size I can go. Front window to the film mode. I'm not even going to play with that. Global graphics quality. Thank you so much, NVIDIA. Okay, I'm going to disable clouds because otherwise this is going to die. Fog quality. Yeah, go ahead and enable. I'll try. If I choke out, I am so sorry. Frame quality settings. Let's go and bump that to high. I'm going to regret that, but let's bump that to high. Yes, we do want water failing. I don't. Tesla. No idea. There are so many graphic settings in this game that it's not even funny. I'm going to just say straight up, I am of the official stance that your graphics card shouldn't randomly change your game's video settings. I wondered why Fallout looked bad this morning. Just throw that out there. I updated to the most recent GeForce experience, and oh, it's an experience, alright. Alright. Let's try this again. A little slower, looks better. Not quite as disgusting, we'll go with that. There is a weird graphic bug. Some of the new assets recently put in this weird thing right there, this weird super mesh, and everybody hates it. That's all I can say about it. Alright, anyways, where are we as a city? We are effectively just started. We have the city's groundwork laid out, we have some basic services running, we have a school. What we don't have is our police officers, and, well, what we don't have could, you know, fill everything. So my goal is to get this city into profit. And you can do it relatively quickly at the start of the game by focusing on your specialized industry. In our case, it's farms. And in a moment, it's going to be a little bit of forestry as well. There are other specialized industries we can pick from, but it's a slow start. Now, you may notice already, we're not losing very much. Compared to how much we have, we're not. But we only have 643,000. We're going to burn through that before we want to admit it. And before we can completely turn this city into a fully profitable enterprise, we may end up getting a loan. But that depends on how fast you want to rush this. I take my time. That said, it is a simulation. There are going to be points where you're going to be better off getting up, walking away, doing the dishes, coming back in half an hour, and waiting for this magical money to have gone up from wherever it was before you went AFK. That said, if you're going to do that, you need to be in profit first. So let's take a look at what we need, and then we'll see how we can get there from here. But first, caffeine. Because caffeine. That's why. Alright, here's what we're not going to do. We are not going to be expanding anything up into these steps, up into this river area, up into any of this section right here. I am saving this for when we unlock high-density commercial and high-density residential specifically, so we can start having some towering buildings overlooking this river as it flows in, and we'll turn this whole section down here into one gigantic harbor later. Right now, we're not doing that, and that's not going to help us. But it tells me that all of this area is completely, from here to here, is off limits. Everything right of whatever that is, Chester Street, is completely off limits. As far as these squares right here, why do I not have anything filled in with them? Because I'm going to be turning these into high density commercial when we unlock HDC. And high density commercial won't unlock until we hit milestone 9. We've got a while to go. Right now, everything is low density. Low density is great. Low density is wonderful. Low density is the gas station at the end of your street. Low density is the mom and pop pharmaceutical shop down the street from your house. And no, not the one run by the guy in the trench coat. The legit one. Hey, Brain! A Wild Josh has appeared. Wild Josh, face and all. What's left of my face that is slowly healing from last month. But right now, we have an 8-lane avenue here. This avenue is designed for high-density traffic. And we're not going to waste this area on low-density stuff. We're also going to be putting in a transport hub down here as well. Probably, if I had to guess, the best place for it is going to be somewhere down in here. And we're going to have multiple buildings that are going to fit in this transport hub area. Some will be on this side, some will be on this side. But again, those buildings, we can't even unlock the thing for them until milestone 4 at Grand Village. So, like I said, we do have some work to do. So let's take a look and see what work for us entails. And it's mostly going to entail buying a tile to expand out. Buying tiles is how you expand out in this game. I think I just said that. You'll be able to unlock new places to build, new regions. If I wanted to, I could come over here and I could buy, say, these 6 tiles and plop down residential whatever. I will in the future. Right now, not so much. Since we know we can't develop over here for future plans, and we know that up here is going to be designated for forestry here shortly, that leaves us with really only 2 options, ways to expand out. We can either come out this way along the highway, we can come down this way and sort of buffet our eventual downtown area with a bit of more residential. And it's hit and miss. Listen, this is one of those things where the creativity part of the game comes into play. If you're not feeling very creative, you're not going to be able to make the best city possible. Some of it is min-maxing, some of it is designing layouts and making sure things work, but this whole thing is you. This is all your sandbox. This is all your decision. And it's up to you to decide the best way to utilize this land to grow out your city and what things you're going to want to have and where you're going to want to put them. I have done cities on this map before, and I think, knowing what I know, I have a rough idea where some of our major districts are going to be. Down here, we're going to do a very nice harbor district. Up here, we're either going to do heavy-duty business and industrial, or business and residential, or a major airport. Not sure which yet. But, again, future plans. Right now, we need to consider what we're going to be doing with this highway system. Right now, the highway comes in from one location. This is going to be our main feeder line for everything we do in the whole city. It's going to come in from this border. There are no other road borders. We'll be taking advantage of rail off the same exit as well. So this one highway is not going to be it, but let's be reasonable for how we want it to go. Not taking that call. Hey, actually, Brain, that's a good question. I will tell you in just 1 second when we start laying some things down. So hold on to that thought, and I will be right with you. Let me also turn off ads, turn down music, and if you heard a porg screaming in the background, my phone rang. I'll get back to it. Okay. Right here is likely where we're going to end up having a highway split. So we're going to have a major 4-lane interchange coming in right about in here with a lane that's going to go probably straight up. I mean, it looks like there's a little bit of a dent right here in the lanes. And I know I'm eyeballing this as I'm talking to you guys, and it's probably not making any sense to you, but here's why. I don't want to buy these tiles right here if it's going to be highway. I want to buy these tiles. I don't want to buy these tiles if I'm not going to be using them right now. Buying tiles increases your monthly cost. It puts us a little bit deeper in debt. And the name of the game right now is to be careful with how deep we go. So if we buy this tile, we know that we're not going to use a good chunk of it that's leaning up against the highway. No sense in buying this tile until we can have our highway interchange built. So those are out. Looks like this one, this one, this one, or this one are going to be our best bet. We will skip that one because if we're putting a major transport hub right here, then we're going to be losing space and it's going to put a big residential gap between sections that I'm not quite prepared for yet. I loathe to say it, but I think that our best bet right this second is going to be to buy this square, and we may just have to go ahead and bite the bullet and buy. See, the cost alone is 104,000 on that. I hate it when I'm just trying to get the small neighborhoods up and running. That's my problem. Just a thing that I hate. Okay. Well, at the very least, let's start with this, and if we end up having to buy that to connect our road network, we will. Now, to answer Brain's questions, yes, you can develop a lot of different style of buildings. Right now, I have predominantly North American style commercial right in through here. And then I have North American style light residential. If you scoot down over here, though, where we put in our farms, there we are. With these over here, we've got, I believe these are those North American, or are they the UK row houses? Truthfully, gang, I don't remember. Okay, these would be the United Kingdom style row houses, because the icons match. Finally found it. But then to answer the rest of your question, yes, recently they've put out a bunch of different content packs where they've added things like Denmark buildings, or buildings that you would see in France, French style stuff. Same thing with Japanese and specialized UK style buildings. I can't really show you very well what they look like right here, right now, until we get a chance to build them, but there are quite a few of them. For example, and I'm afraid you're going to have to live with the highlights. This would be a Japanese police station versus, say, the Denmark police station. And the highlight doesn't show you a whole lot much. I wish I could show you more. And here's a French police station. All does relatively the same things, but they do have different styles available. Yeah, I actually love the French. I love the French style buildings. The French style row houses are one of my favorite things in the game right now. We don't have the right spot for them for the way that I put my stuff together, but that's just purely a eyeball thing, a me thing. Okay, so let's start by fixing up our road network right here and adding on to what we had already built. We're going to come down with our 6-lane road, and that's also 6 lanes, so we're going to swing over, keep at a 90-degree angle. Actually, we're going to make our 90-degree angle right here at this roundabout. Make sure it gets nice and even, 90 degrees, there we go. And that gives us something of a grid right here. That connects all of this stuff in together. We're good to go. Yeah, I hate to do it. I hate to spend the money, but if I don't buy this, this is going to look really weird. So, let's snap this up. Come up. We've got a 2-lane road right here at this junction. I'm going to come down. On my roads, I'm going to just switch to snap to 90 degree and snap to existing geometry to make sure that I connected this road network right here. I'm going to bring this out a good bit. We've got some money we can play around with. I'm trying to be a little bit of a miser with it, but alright. This intersection right here really, really needs to be a roundabout. But we're going to live with it and not live with it. So what we're going to have to do is twofold here. I'm going to need to come over here to this farm, decrease the amount of space that I gave it, which is going to make them unhappy. They'll deal. Drop this down a little bit. Come over here. We're going to get a, since we've got 6 lane and 2 4 lanes, we're just going to get a large roundabout. It's very large. Large metallic. Still not enough space. Shrink that intersection down a little bit. And I know you're like, but Josh, you said this was all going to be about making money. I'm like, well, yes, it is. But if we don't get our initial designs down right, it's not going to matter. And making money is going to require us having people in this city. Unlike the 2 people who I just unceremoniously kicked out of their homes because I eminent domained their property. My apologies, it sucks. Welcome to America. Alright, so we've got this roundabout here. If we did not put this roundabout here, we would regret it. This would become a traffic nightmare in the near to immediate future. One thing that you may be noticing, though, flashing on these buildings is this crime scene icon. This means that there's crime in my city, and I don't have any cops yet. We have to resolve that. So let's take a look. We do have the money at the moment to resolve that, so let's take a look at what our police department options are so that we can hopefully start seeing a positive growth in our population as soon as we start zoning some more stuff. Okay, so small police stations got capacity for 10 patrol cars and 10 people in prison. Really fast. I have been playing this game since launch. I have yet to encounter a city that I have built, maybe this is hubris, maybe this is me bragging, I don't know, where I have ever had to use a prison or have had a crime rate to the extent that we needed to care about jail capacity. So the only things I am caring about right now are how much these police stations cost, how many patrol cars there are, and what the upkeep is. Right now, an upkeep of $15,000 a month for 6 patrol cars on that one. That gives me 6 patrol cars at $60,000 more than the base. This is a city police station. It's designed for cities that have a lot more people in it than we do. Same with that one. We haven't unlocked the police headquarters yet, so they're out. Now this one is $90,000, and it's in the Denmark style, which is not a bad thing. This one's $160,000. I do love the look of it. Another $160,000. $285,000. So my choices are $100,000 at $15,000 a month, or $90,000 for $11,000 a month. With same number of patrol cars and a bigger jail capacity. Well, that sort of makes this question easy, doesn't it? Let's take a look at the footprint. Footprint's not the worst, but this one's smaller. So let's think about where we're going to have the most people. I put the city school over here that's going to have a maximum of 2,000 student capacity over here because I know eventually we're going to have large apartments around in this area. We are going to pretty much have the same issue when it comes to police station. This is where eventually a large chunk of people are going to be. But when we get in that large chunk of people, we'll have a larger police station further away from here. I think that for right now, for our purposes, and for the fact that there is this unused chunk of real estate right here, we're going to sneak this police station in right next to these farms. And now, any moment, let's see. This adds additional floor space, but does nothing but change the look. Don't care. And then this would add 2 additional patrol cars at a cost of an additional $9,000 a month. We don't need that. But There they go. The police are here. They're off to help people. Yay. Yay, helping people with police. Okay. Now, people should shut up about that. Alright. And we don't have enough room to continue that as a 2-lane. We're going to put a walking road right here to discourage cars from trying to use this as a shortcut. Because I know they will. So we keep overlapping with that station. That's fine. 180 degrees, there we go. And later, once we unlock parks and a few other things, we'll come over here, put in some detailing so this doesn't stick out like a sore thumb as well as it does. Okay, and that has solved our crime complaints except for that one, and they are fixing that. Now, when you don't have a service building that people are demanding, like police or fire, you can and will get assistance off map, but it takes longer, it becomes problematic, and in the case of fire, it may actually completely screw you. And not in, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So, same token, we need to look at our options for fire, because just because fire hasn't become a hazard now doesn't mean that it won't in the very near future. Fire hazard maps, crime maps, and all that. Right now it says my average fire hazard is 97%. And yeah, just leaving it at that, yeah. Alright, so our choices. $120,000 at $10,000 a month in upkeep. $120,000 at $10,000 a month in upkeep. $20,000 a month. Well, that seems a bit much. 4 fire engines, 6. All of these suck. That's twice the upkeep. Same upkeep. Same upkeep. Same cost. All of these is same exact cost. Huh. So this is one of those cases where like everything's the same, so it doesn't matter. So let's take a look at our fire station, and please, 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 why won't you fit over here? Rude! You could have been the greatest. Just solved our districting issue perfectly. But you chose not to. I am saddened by you. Okay. Well, same thing as with the fire. We know that we're going to have larger stations elsewhere. So I am just going to sneak this. It's not a good idea to have buildings that you know are going to be generating moderate amounts of traffic directly up against your major transport roads. And by that I mean, there's a word for these roads and I'm forgetting it. For example, we have a 6-lane road right here. I don't want these 6 lanes to be bothered. This police station right here, if these lanes get filled up on the outside or get crowded, it's going to be hard for them to pull out. In all honesty, I should change this to a standard 2-lane road and shift it. I should scoot this up over here. If I do, I'm going to lose a little bit for aesthetics. And I'm in a catch-22 on this situation. Plus, I'm going to lose money for moving it. However, doing that, it's not just going to look as good. Sometimes when you're planning, sometimes you have to just be like, well, can I live with it without looking this way? Or is this one small enough to be without the function? And on occasion, you're going to make that decision where it's like, well, you know what, I think I can live with this being, not perfect. Because cities aren't perfect. Cities are growing, they're changing, they're unique, and, they're always made with the best intentions, but not always with the best execution. With that said, we also want to make sure that our police and fire can get to emergencies as fast as they can. That means that they need to go as close to the main arteries in your city as possible so they can go from point A to point B without getting stuck, driving along on 15 different winding little side roads somewhere. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to our 1-lane roads. We're going to get a standard 2-lane road. We're going to do the usual, snap to geometry, snap to 90 degrees, Make sure that we are at a 90-degree angle. We're going to bring that up there. We'll go ahead and make a new block over here now that we've unlocked this extra tile, because we need to start building houses in a bad way. Then we'll come over here, get our fire station, and if we slip it over here behind that fire station first, it's going to level us to level 4. We'll get some money, we'll get some progression points. And there's that weird green bug back. Okay. And for the Denmark firehouse, what are our options? We can increase the number of fire engines and increase the number of fire engines. Okay, that's it. That's all this building gets. But still, that'll be a plus. Alright, right now it's got 4 vehicles total, none are in use. And again, we'll come back over here later and decorate that out a little bit. Let me take a look and see what we have unlocked, because there were a couple of things that I wanted. That's one of them right there. Okay. So, scrolling. College is going to be a priority soon, but it's not right now. Oh, be still my heart. There's trains. We don't need them yet, but that's wonderful. Ah, we did finally unlock parks. So that's a good thing. So we've got basic parks now. We'll explore these very shortly, I promise you. In the meantime, though, there's one thing that I do want to unlock, because I am American, and that's going to be parking areas. I know. But they themselves will increase the people's happiness, and they will serve as a way to help decorate the city up a little bit. We've got 2 points left, and I really want to get a recycling center, but it's going to be way too expensive for us to build right now. So let's just sit on these 2, and we'll see if magically we get very good very fast. I don't think that we will. The other option is that I go ahead and invest in trains and park maintenance. And you know what? We're going to need park maintenance in a big way, because that is a prerequisite to unlocking large sports parks, and tourist attractions. And these are my go-to for filling in territory. You'll find me abusing the crap out of that soon. We'll also go ahead and unlock trains, and while I love setting up train networks in this game more than just about anything, we don't have a use for them right now. However, looks like we did unlock some bonus zoning. And some of that bonus zoning is low rent housing. Low rent housing, in the real world, it's a necessity. In the real world, it is a solution to a lot of problems. That is not necessarily the best idea. In Cities Skylines 2, I built about 2 blocks of these and quit. And that's it. We also, I know that sounds terrible, but this is a simulation, and the real world doesn't always mash up with us. It looks like we also finally unlocked low-density offices. Offices are why we will be focusing on our education, because they make us money without making us pollution. There's going to be a big demand for them. And then we've unlocked oil drilling. And it is so ugly, you guys are going to have to fight me to convince me to build it. Alright, speaking of building, let's get to work. We need to lay out our residential zones a little bit over here. And because this game is glitchy, look at all these weird spaces we have between zones that the game isn't going to let me zone in. Like, look at the space between these squares. This could be a perfectly developable square, and it's not, and it's just a pain. So, there are ways to take advantage of this, though. As it so happens, the standard basic pavement path will fit in these holes a lot of the time. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to fill it in. We're going to make walkable paths so that our citizens do not have to walk solely on our sidewalks. They can get in behind buildings. They can safely walk throughout the city and take the stress off of both the roadway network and our mass transportation. Having a walkable city is one of the most important things that you can have in this game, and having visited New York a couple of times, once, I will say it's one of the most important things that I think I have ever experienced as somebody who is not used to having a walkable city. If I want to get anywhere in my hometown, I almost always have to drive or bus or something like that because everything is too far apart from each other. Um, it creates a very big problem for people who can't afford cars, for people who uh, may not be able to, you know, drive in a van or something along those lines. Um, it's healthier for you too, as well. And I'm very disappointed in my hometown areas for not having enough walkability. And the places where walkability is available, it sucks and it's unsafe. So, so let me say that. All right. So we've got a few walking paths. It's nothing major right here, but this will be good for right now. Let's take a look where we want to consider running our blocks. I think right here is safe enough. So I normally have music playing for this game. The in-game music isn't bad. It gets really repetitive after a while. They've only got a handful of radio stations, but you make the most of it. And like I showed you last time when we were developing, we run into situations where I want to have my buildings building in the right direction, facing the right roads. So we're going to struggle with this a little bit right over here. So let's take a look. Excuse me, what do we got? All right, right here, this is going to be perfect for low density residential. I'm going to force the game to reconsider this right there. We're going to put in, we have no demand for commercial zones right now at all. Don't know why. I'm going to go ahead and put in a small little bit of commercial unitization right there. Then we're going to come over here closer to our fire and police. In fact, I'm going to put in a couple of Japan style buildings right over here for low density commercial. And then, since this is off the main entranceway to the city, we'll go ahead and fill in a little bit of office space right here. People are demanding it. Offices serve as a workplace, which means you get tax money from it. They also produce goods, both physical and immaterial, and they will be using stuff that comes from your industrial plants. The bonus is that they make more money, to me, than your industrial does. They don't pollute. And the downside is that they require a higher level of education, which means your education needs to be really up high. Unfortunately, ours is not yet there. Now, because there is a demand for low rent housing, we're going to go over here. We're going to pick a couple of spots that we think we can fit them in. Low rent housing feels like it would be semi-appropriate to be up against a large major road. Rather than in the back of a nicer neighborhood. But we'll do some mixed-use zoning over here. We've got some commercial right there. We'll slip in some office zones as well because, you know, you need to go to the dentist. You need to go to, I don't know, a lawyer or the bank. And you'd expect to see, you know, a bank or something. What's going to be coming in behind here? We don't know. We'll find out in a moment. Alright, so we've got that built. Now let's focus in on filling in our low density residential over here and get this neighborhood built up a little bit. Nice and slow and careful, giving our buildings a chance to pop in. And I do see there is still a demand for medium density residential. We'll go ahead and up here we used UK style row housing. We'll mix that a little bit. We stole everything else from the British, so let me just go ahead and slip in some North American style medium density row housing right down in through here. That's not going to face the way I want it to face. I can see it already, so we'll wait. And I want to keep these buildings even, so let's get rid of that small one and keep a watch on it till it zones in the right size. And now, unfortunately, we wait. But while we wait, I'm going to take a look. How are we doing? We're losing significant money now, unfortunately. And we're losing money because we bought our new fire department and our new police station. We needed it. We couldn't ignore the demand for it. It was only going to get worse, but we're out money for it. So let me speed up things a little bit and let some of this stuff zone in. While it does, I'm going to go ahead and take a look and show you guys some of the parks we have available. Some of these are very, very, very small, literally take up 1 square. Others are a mix. They take up lengths instead of width. They take up width instead of lengths. Others are quite big and round and strange. Others are very tiny and useful. And parks serve a very important brain just froze. Parks are part of what makes your city attractive. I think that's pretty much a given. All of these, on this section, we have things like small playgrounds, and we have dog parks, and we have tiny parks. Things, and a campfire site, which is going to be our biggest of our small parks. These parks are designed to increase the land value of your area, increase your citizens' well-being, makes them happier, makes them want to live in an area more. They also have a downside in that if you do not have enough housing availability, you will generate homelessness with it. And that's just the real world rearing its ugly head, unfortunately. But it's a trade-off that we will take, and I do believe that every community needs good parks. And I think to start this off with, anything ever get built? Yeah. Okay, I'm not demolishing somebody's house for a park. Not right now. I'm going to fit in this wide park right there, fill in that square that nobody had been in before. So now if these guys leave their house, they're going to work, they can stop in, just have a nice little outdoor area that they can walk through and relax in. You know, it's in the middle of a neighborhood. It's not the most ideal space for it, but it's still a nice place for them to go. And some parks have the ability. Okay, see, we're going to be very careful here. If I drag this path right down, as careful as I can, we still ended up evicting those residents. Okay, destroy that, try it again. Think I can. So far. Yep, there we go. And now they should be able to just walk off this street, walk up onto that park. Same token, we'll go ahead and do that over here as well. Just for the sake of city beautification. Now, in theory, we should see some residents popping through, but we may not. It's your guess is as good as mine. Okay. What's next? Well, we've got undeveloped territory right here, right across from the school. Likely, I was thinking about putting in some commercial, but I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in with some medium density North American style row housing. Just sort of pack that in a little bit better. And according to our demand indicators down here, we've got a little bit of demand for more office zones, so let's go ahead and get those filled in so they can generate us some money. Because, and again, this is a work area. I do want to have it on some of our, closer to some of our main drag area, like that 8-lane super road up there. And we'll make sure that we leave enough that room that in case we decide to extend these 2-lane roads up, we won't end up destroying any buildings to fit them in there. And that never developed, so I'll go ahead and finish filling that in. Alright, we've got significant demand for low density residential. Let's take a look. They're not happy about the lack of jobs, though. That's a problem for them, and a lack of jobs is a problem for me. So, commercial demand is just like, whatever, homie. Okay, how are we doing on money-wise? Well, we've corrected our problem by a little bit, but not a lot, and not enough. Sorry, really thirsty. Alright, so what makes jobs in Cities Skylines? Office zones, commercial zones, specialty buildings, and ultimately industrial. Specialized industrial will also make jobs as well. However, this tiny dairy farm right over here, it's only employing 6 people. This farm, 11. This farm, 12. 8 most, 6 at most. And while these farms will develop, they will level up as they produce more and more, and as their worker intelligence level grows. Yeah, that's the thing. They're not going to be huge. What produces more jobs? Industrial. 41 employees here, 35 here, 46 there. That's a power plant. 51 there. So what we need to build more than anything right now, and I hate to do this, is a bit more of industrial. And we can back this up too. Total workplaces right now in our city, 1,129. Total employees, 1,087. Listen, number-wise, that's really good. In the real world, somebody would probably be losing their ass over that right now. But it's not helpful for us. Honestly, it's not helpful for the workers either, if my economics lessons were right. So, let's fill this in, a little bit more industrial. Yes, it's going to pollute. Yes, we have solutions for that, but not until much later in the game. So, fill in our industrial demand right here. And then while that fills in, there was something I did want to put in down here just for looks. We'll go over here to parking. We'll go over here, grab our medium gravel lot. It's only 7,000. We can afford that. Let's compare it to our small gravel. I'm not impressed by the small gravel lot. Let's go ahead. Let's get rid of snapping because it's trying to snap it right into those trees we put down on our last session. And I don't really want to do that. But a couple of gravel parking lots over here next to all these farms and that dairy, I think would work really well. We're not going to be able to lay that one in that way. Let's go ahead and flip that back on. Okay, and you may have noticed that now this is really ugly. So first, let me save. And then we're going to swing over here with our detailing tool. And we're going to select one of those lots, find the node for it, and then very carefully we're going to drag it out as far as we can. Push it up here. We'll come to this parking lot. We'll drag this node out as well. Is this a perfect solution to this problem? No. Does this tan still look insanely ugly? Yes. Am I good at doing detailing in this game? No, I am not. Like, this is atrociously awful. What we can do is I'll go ahead and slip in that right here. So now all these farms, this dairy thing, come in, grab maybe a little bite at this canopy parkette, and they'll be able to park their cars right here in these gravel lots. We can also put down a little bit in terms of, say, I don't know, what would be good over here. I feel like a greenhouse next to a farm is a little too on the nose even for me. Sandbox is next to an industrial dairy farm. I mean, conceptually, this is not going to smell the greatest to the world, but we'll pretend we don't know that. What would fit in, though? A junk car or two back here around the corner. Just for the sake of it. Maybe a gas bottle rack. Let's see. Would be a good fit. Oh, it's actually, I could in theory put in a grain silo over here. I didn't know I had buildings this size. Huh. Grain elevator, grain silo, grain bin. Huh. Didn't know I had access to these props. I never even noticed. Alright, well, they're not going to fit great in a parking lot, but you get the general idea. I will set... I don't know, gang. Sometimes less is more in and of its own right. What we can do is season this with a few extra rocks. Just some random rocks strewn through here. There we go. Okay, just purely for looks. So now we've got gravel parking lots with some rocks and this little mini park right here, a couple of junk cars in the back. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, just purely for looks. That's all we were doing it right there for. And hey, what happened while we were doing this? We put down that extra commercial and boom, we are in profit. Our city is now making an additional $3,000 an hour. And this is game hour, not us hour. And if I wanted to stop right here, I would, because this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you guys that if you build slow, if you build targeted, if you build with a plan, and you build with a focus, it is very easy to turn a profit at the beginning of the game. Now, this is not a lot of profit, but if you wanted to, you could leave right now and go watch Band of Brothers, leave this running for the next couple of hours, and be okay-ish. Would it be great for you? Probably not gonna lie. It's not gonna be a lot of money. So, let's see what we can do about building onto that, shall we? And we're almost at level 5, and there was something that we get at 5, and I forget what that was. Alright, one thing I do want to go ahead and take a look at, though. I know I said, oh, no trains yet, because we can't afford them. Because, really, guys, we cannot afford a train station. The rail yard itself is $150. Then the train stations are around the same price. And then we've got tracks, and then we've got everything. And at the point where our city is right now, we're not going to notice that big of a difference if we invest in it. So it's not going to be worth it to us right this second. Will be soon, but not right this second. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to buy this tile up here, which is going to ding us a bit. I'm going to come down here to our 8-lane roads. 6 lane, 7 lane. I'm going to find our 8-lane roads. Where are my 8-lane roads? 8-lane divided road, finally. We're going to expand up from this intersection. And we're going to make sure that we have on our contour lines, because I don't want to get too deep, too hard in the wrong area. Keep aiming up. Okay, that's good enough for right now, I think. Take a look at these roads. What are our connectors over here? These are both 4 lanes, it seems. So let's come up. Why is that telling me that I can't build from right there? Who knows? Don't want to overlap that poor building. It's done nothing wrong. Build up here. Leave us. We're just establishing that block for ourselves. Going to get our 6 lane. Come up. I'm going to duck. I think that's fair, but need to be on the 90. Need to be on the 90. 180, we're over. Right. So some additional mapping has been done. We now have additional 2 more points of contact for our industrial sector. They'll be coming out this way. They'll be going down this way. This is still going to be their main exit and transport area. Hey, Dota. Good to hear from you. Whew. Alright, so what time is it? Right now it is 6:40. I've got about another 20 minutes left on stream tonight. So what do I want to get done? I've gotten us some profit. Let's get us some more profit. And we're going to get us some more profit by beginning to build our lumber industry. And we're going to handle this much the same way as we handled our forestry industry. By that I mean we're going to pick an arbitrary spot over here with 4-lane roads, branch it up, and we're just going to go deep up to the edge of our map. Now I know that there are additional other resource types up here that we may or may not be working on in the future. Let's take a look at them. Yeah, because the green is forestry and the gray is ore. I'm going to show you guys why I think the ore buildings look so freaking terrible. Oh, so you got a cat on you. Okay. I was like, hey, I didn't know you were seeing somebody. Well, hey. But no, kitties are always welcome on the stream. I do love the fact that I have to watch what I say. Kitties are always welcome on this stream is all I'm going to go with that. Alright, I also said that this was going to be a 4-lane road. I'm going to change that. And I'm going to change this up into 6 because we're going to be doing a couple of different things here. Okay, I still want this 8-lane road here because it's going to be a very major connector for us. We will have a highway system that's going to come up around this way, and it'll be attached to this 8-lane road up here, eventually. Same thing down here. So, method, madness, etc. We do want to install a very large roundabout, though. Go with this right there. And while we're playing with the roundabouts, let's get rid of those. Looks like we broke the water line somehow. I don't know how. That water line that we don't actually need, I think, because that roadway should be... Nope, we needed that water line. Boy, I was wrong. Pausing. Reconnected water line. Unpausing. Whoopsie daisy. Okay. Get back up here. Get rid of that little road segment. It was annoying me. And I'm going to want another roundabout right over here as well for future planning purposes. bunch of trees is going to be fine. So, we've started earning money. Let's amp up on this a little bit. You can't have two specialized industries laying on top of each other. You can't be mining for ore and harvesting wood in the same exact location. But we can do them right across from the street from each other because, sure, that makes sense too. Okay. This ore building that I'm installing may not last forever. In fact, I'm going to almost certainly say I'm going to delete it. Ooh, there's a thought. If I put ore here, it's going to pollute the area around this. Forestry will too, but not as bad. Let's come in. Let's be a little fancy though. What do you say? Should we be a little fancy with our forestry building? I think we should. I think we should be very fancy. By fancy, I mean I'm just going to extend a gravel road, make it spin a little, and then force a node break right there so I don't erase all of that. Now, this is not being done for sake of production. This is being done for aesthetics. Rephrase that. This road is not being done for the sake of anything special. I just want to build this way so it doesn't look as gritty as some of our other stuff. Let's get to work. Forestry time. The forestry resource buildings don't look as bad as the ore and other industry buildings do. We'll go ahead and set down 2 of them, and we'll do to them the same thing we did with those farms. We'll go over here, extend the node as much as we feel like it. We know that there are trees here because we have eyes. And if you don't have eyes and you're just listening to my voice, hi. Hey, it's good to hear you. Or, well, it's good to think of you. That was not intended to be an asshole-y thing to say. I'm sorry if it was. Alright, we're going to extend this. I'm going to leave this area right here open for development purposes. I hear a tornado. Where is our tornado? Are you effing kidding me? Go away. I am not prepared for you yet. Leave. Be gone. Don't you hit. No, 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 no. Don't hit it. Don't hit it. Don't hit my police station. Alright. Apparently I'm giving you guys a lesson on natural disasters in a moment. It's being damaged. Buildings will repair themselves over time, usually fairly quickly. If they get destroyed, it's a different story. Some buildings, like residential, commercial, industrial buildings, basic things, will automatically repair themselves. If they are completely destroyed, they require the game to either send a fire and rescue crew over to search for survivors, as they should, and then you can rebuild it for a reduced cost, or you just bulldoze the whole blessed thing. And in this case, okay, so those commercial buildings were destroyed by weather. I don't have the ability right now to have fire and rescue crews go over, and that's just annihilating my workforce. This is going to cause some other problems, and we'll get with them in a second. Go away! Blow elsewhere. Not further down the city, just blow elsewhere. Ah, I forgot. Sorry, that noise was the table knife I have on my tea. Alright, now, as you might expect, when buildings get destroyed, when natural disasters happen, when things catch on fire, when car wrecks happen, you're going to have responses from emergency medical services, like this doctor's office over here, You're going to have requirements for hearses that my poor church right there is going to have to provide. And sometimes fire services will have to come over as well. So expect to see a lot of very angry notes up here in a second. And alright, the tornado's over. And now what? Now we just sort of wait. Some of these buildings will self-repair. This building is self-repairing. Thankfully, it shows that nobody here died that I can see on these. Wait, no. Arriving vehicles. Hearse. We're just going to let these set for right now, and if they don't get repaired imminently, then we'll come back and bulldoze them. But, yeah. So this building was destroyed. We've got hearses attending. For smaller unit, one family residential buildings, disasters like this aren't a big problem. But say if a high-rise catches fire, yeah. Alright, anyways, now that the terribleness is over, let's finish zoning in our forestry. So a quick note on natural disasters in this game. Right now there is one. That one. There's also fire. Fire is just as random. It's just as weird. Usually it's forest fires out away from your city. Sometimes it can set large buildings on fire. I lost a whole day's worth of building once because I had built a power plant and it caught fire about 10 minutes after I put it down. And I had already saved after it caught fire because I hadn't been paying attention, and regrets were had. So, alright. This is one of the reasons I went ahead and built that fire station early, just to sort of, you know, keep that from happening. Now look over here. Now you're going to see some complaints. What do we got? What are our complaints from these buildings? Waiting for a hearse, waiting for a hearse, waiting for a hearse. Yeah. And we can either fast forward this by destroying the buildings or just waiting it out. I'm going to wait it out a little bit just to see how the game responds. As you get more buildings, things like this city firehouse. No, not the city firehouse. Things like this fire station will have a disaster response unit, and rebuilding will happen automatically once the DRU has been deployed and searched for survivors. Does it make a huge impact on gameplay? No. Does it make an impact on gameplay? Yes. Alright. I'm going to put down a ore mining building over here so you guys can see why I think they look so insanely terrible. Okay. So I'm going to slip this in up here. Just push it right up against the road. Take a look at this ground texture, and you'll see why I don't like it. Let me expand out a little bit. First of all, where I expand it, those trees no longer exist. And if I shrink it back down, I don't think they come back, do they? They'll have to grow from the start. So theoretically, it's possible to recover this, but not easily. Alright. We'll put this metals plant down because it will generate us some money, and we can come back later and delete it. And I'm going to be honest with you, we're going to come back later and delete it. Because look, not only is it disgustingly ugly, the prop is cool. That little mine opening right there is cool. That just randomly generated on it. Look at how badly it stands out from the rest of the area. Now look, I'm going to be honest with you. A landfill is going to stick out. It's going to look bad. But here's the difference between the real world and this game and this simulation. Again, I love this game. I love this game so much. But what can you not see? Height maps, shadows. You can barely tell, or maybe it's just me, looking at it from afar, that this goes up a hill. When I'm looking back from the back, I can't. I can't tell that there's a hill gradient right there. It looks like just a flat blob of gray square to me. Even over here where you can tell that there is a gradient, it's hidden by this texture. And there's no good solutions to it. I've experimented with putting up retaining walls around these, or the equivalent of retaining walls around these, trying to hide them with trees and rocks and everything else like that, so that when I'm down close, I don't see it as bad. But truth is, I'm not usually down close. I'm usually at a far distance. And from a far distance, this farm sticks out like a sore thumb, and that sticks out so much worse. The lumber is not as bad. It's darker. Excuse me. You can still see it, but it doesn't look quite as terrible. But that, to me, from a personal standpoint, it's just awful. And it looks like the game isn't going to rebuild these by nature. So we'll go ahead and do what we gotta do. To get those back to where we want them. Alright, we're back at making 4,000 an hour. We're going to let the trees and the lumber progress. Now, we could do the same thing that we did earlier with the dairy building and go over here to signature buildings, go over here to industrial, and pound out 8 more random forestry hub buildings to put down a paper factory, which would be nice for the city. And the same thing with ore and the same thing with oil. We're not going to do that, at least not right this moment. We'll probably do that for ore later in the city. Right now we don't really need it. We've already got one industrial specification, and I think it's doing well enough to help out our city. But, hey, take a look. We do have some room up here for additional stuff, so let's lay a small one-way alley back over here from corner to corner. Run it right up behind that transformer, and then fill the rest in with industrial. Just go with our yeah, we'll just go with our flood tool. It's not going to bother me so much seeing how these things develop themselves. And just for good measure, we'll come over here for parking, and we'll pick a, well, this is entirely unnecessary. An industrial area is a good place as any for a decent sized parking lot. Okay, that's medium. It's wide. And then we'll once again come over here to detailing, go over to surfaces, highlight for the node, drag it over, that said, you may notice that there does seem to be a car exit right there, so let's not, let's see, what can we do? Can we fit this? Oh, almost fit that. I don't mind destroying a building when it's first been built. It's just par for the course. Okay. Alright, now let's finish up our surfacing over here. Cover up that weird green space that was left behind. Okay, good. Let's adjust these roads. You don't need to have pedestrian crossings every 30 seconds. And then go back over here to detailing. Set a line of no parking stripes right through there. Switch over to our debris menu and not. Switch over to our industrial menu. And then we're going to put a couple of safety cones, put some barrels. This cardboard box, let's not. Lay down some crates. Cardboard box pile, crate piles. Cable reels. Let's fit in with just about any industrial section. A few more barrels. I don't know. I feel like this is a barrel area. And then we're gonna season it with a couple small little trash piles. And then last but not least, because sometimes life isn't always awesome, what am I looking for? And it strikes me as not unreasonable that somebody wouldn't stuff in a tent buried in the boxes back there. Okay. Alright, so now we've got a parking lot, detailed it up a little bit. In our industrial sector, we've got great demand for all kinds of residential, commercial, industrial, and office, and I think that is absolutely wonderful. What we don't have a lot though yet are parks, and I do want to build in a few more. We are slowly earning money. We're up to 5,000 now. We're almost to level 5, and I suspect that our first real park is going to give us a boost over. So let's stick in a wide pocket park right over here. There we go. Took 2 of them. All right, 5 more development points. More tiles we can buy, and a good bit more money. Let's head to the progression panel though. Oh, we've also unlocked a new signature building. Oh, and it seems we've unlocked mixed housing. Mixed housing is one of my favorite things in the game, and we'll be diving into this momentarily. We've also unlocked post offices, radio masts, and city services. Those we're going to ignore right now. Development, though, is a different story. We have 5 development points to pick from. I would love to grab large parks, sports parks. We don't have enough money to justify putting them down yet. As soon as we do, you're going to see me go park happy. We also have colleges unlocked, but I haven't even built a high school yet, so tough luck, kids. You'll have to wait. Again, same recycling center, incinerator. I want them. We're going to have them. We just can't afford them. As far as healthcare and deathcare goes, crematorium is going to be in the very near future, if not this round. Hospital, we don't need yet. We're not nowhere near close enough to having enough people to justify a hospital. We can't afford the water treatment plant, unfortunately. However, and by the same token, we're not yet ready to afford the geothermal power plant because that's going to be expensive. That is our goal, the geothermal power plant. And when we get it, though, it's going to cost us $750,000 to put down. While we could do that right now if we wanted to get a loan and start really making some money, I'm going to hold off for at least one more level. You'll have to bear with me. Method, madness, etc., etc. Let's get back over here, though. And I'm going to get this. Here is the truth about me. I am bad at making highway intersections in this game. I don't know if it's a lack of 3D thinking. I don't know if it's a lack of talent. I don't know if it's a lack of skill. But I cannot, for the life of me, develop four-way intersections that look anywhere decent. I think I've done 2 out of the dozens of cities that I have made. So I rely, unfortunately, on the default highway intersections included in this game. I don't like them. I do not use hardly any of them, but they are a critical component to every city that I put together. Highway intersections are one of the most incredible parts of your road network, and if you have a road network failure, 9 times out of 10, it will be at an intersection point with your highways because they have the most traffic and they take the most abuse. That said, there are ways to work around their restrictions and limitations. We're going to explore with them. And the reason why I'm going to pick up highway intersections next is because right now, if you drive into this city, coming in from outside the map, you have 2 directions you can go. You can, well, we have one direction you can go on the highway. You come in, you're going east, period. East and only east. And then the second you hit this, the second you come off of this 2-lane, one-way highway right here, you hit a roundabout. You have no off-ramps, you have no happy-happies, anything. You go straight into roundabout hell. And that works never anywhere. Right now it's working in the simulation because it's a simulation, it's a game, and nobody worth their salt would design a city that has one and only one exit point into the city being a roundabout if they're expecting their city to grow larger than a turnip. And I am planning on making the city grow larger than a turnip. So how do we go about solving this? Well, much as I hate to say it, this turnip intersection is pretty much going to stay as it is for the foreseeable future. I'm actually not 100% sure what to do about that. But what I can tell you is that we are going to be shifting some of this. We're going to want a highway intersection right here. Right? Okay, you can't see my mouse. We're going to want a 4-point highway intersection right over here because we're going to want, as the city develops, to have it go up here and to have it come down here, and we'll likely split it again somewhere down. I don't know. We might split it again. Maybe. It's going to go over the rail track, no matter what. And when it does, we're going to want it to connect to this road, to this road, to these roads. So where this is right now, I do not like it, and it is a limitation. It is a limitation we will have to overcome, and it is a limitation that we will have to plan around. I find it easiest to plan around it when I can see it. So there are several needs that our city has right now. Obviously, more people, the more money, the more jobs, the more everything, the faster we level up. The other thing that we need right now is more education. While our elementary school is doing good, we have no high schools, no colleges, no universities. And if we're going to start putting in more offices, as the game is asking us to, we need to do something about that. So let's take a look at our options for high school. I know, I went from highways to high school. Look, sometimes this game levels you up faster than you're expecting, and sometimes it doesn't. I have 5 development points available right now. I know that in the near future, I'm going to want my intersections. I also know that in the near future, I'm going to want or need to have crematoriums unlocked. We'll go ahead and get these right now. College probably will be next round. Maybe. We will see. But for the moment, unlocking those is going to make a pretty big difference for us. Whether or not we even get to do them before we hit level 6, I don't know. Let's find out. Alright. Elementary, 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 small high school. Okay, 400 students, 1,500. Regular high school, this thing is huge. You're like, Josh, it looks like it's got a relatively medium-sized footprint. Yeah, it does, until you add the sports complex on it that's going to take up more space than this farmland, and that's not much of an exaggeration. The other choice would be the city high school, which would fit in perfectly right in over here and would start addressing when we get our high residential buildings coming up along the riverside here. This is a very valid option, except for the fact that it costs $300,000 as opposed to $150,000. It also does have double the student capacity. It is by far the better choice of the two. The modern high school looks really cool, $200,000 for less capacity than the one that's at $300,000. Well, as you would expect. It scales down about right. The urban high school looks pretty freaking cool, and its footprint for us would be perfect. But again, it's $300,000. So I have a choice. I can either get ready to push us almost in debt, or get this small high school, push it off to the side, and doing that, I would not actually have enough room for the 528 students who are eligible, and that just seems like it's an insult. Hey kids, let me build you a high school. Oh wait, 100 of you can't show up because I'm cheap. Now I am cheap, but I don't want to, screw even, fake kids out of an education. So what's going to be our best option? Well, to cover all of our eligible right now, and to afford it, it's probably going to be the modern high school. Can be upgraded with mindfulness room, additional teaching building, and student dorm. Or we go with the full-scale high school at $300,000, and we'll be able to bring a sports park to the city. If I had more followers, I would say, hey chat, take a vote on this, let's figure something out. But I don't have more followers. So, looking at available costs and knowing how we want to develop, we don't have a lot of great options here. We really do not. Part of me, very badly, wants to put down the regular high school to get in the large sports park and stuff. That would fit in. It would look like any Friday Night Lights or Smallville episode we could possibly imagine. The realistic part of me is thinking that the city high school could probably be better, given how we intend to develop over here on the right side sooner rather than later. So, as much as I like the aesthetics, well, it's the same price, isn't it? High school, city high school, same exact price. It's the modern high school I was thinking, excuse me. This does take up extra space, and here's the other problem though. I don't know how much extra space the add-ons to this one takes up. So, I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet. Oh, how much does regular high school increase? $22,000 an hour? That may drop us out of profit, guys. I don't know. Or $20,000 a month. I don't know. Brain, you still over there? What do you think? Should we go for the high school that's going to have a large sports park and a huge footprint, or the smaller one that we can just sort of cram in here and hope for the best? If you're still there, and I don't know if you still are. And while we wait, let's take a look and see our highway question. Okay, you are still there, and you want to go ahead and give them the park. Okay. Well, I'm not putting a sports park right next to an industrial area, which is where it would go if I stuck it over here. I think it's fair to put a high school near a highway intersection, because Lord knows I've got like 3 of them in my own hometown. Honestly, it looks like our best place is going to be right about right in here. Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of other options for it. So it's going to be up against the farmland. It's going to be near the dairy factory. It's going to be on the other side of where all of our residential is for the moment, but we're going to be expanding that out pretty significantly up through here. So I'm going to come over here. That's a 2-lane road. I'm going to upgrade it to 4 using our nifty handy dandy upgrade tool. Make sure it's all straightened up coming down through there. Go ahead, bring it down at a 90 degree. Your other high school was in an industrial park. You know what? America. I mean, again, though, it's one of those things where you put stuff where you've got room for it. That's just, like, we don't always have room to put everything exactly where we want it to be, but since this is my city and my simulation, I'm going to try to avoid putting my things as close to polluting sources as possible. So there's a school down the street from my house, and down the other direction is a industrial Superfund site. So, I mean, I get it. I do. I absolutely do 100% get it. It's frustrating as hell, but I get it, and I understand it. All right. Well, then, let's go over here. Let's go to our high school. Now, let's take a look at how we want to lay this out. And I think we're just going to go ahead and set it out right next to the main roadway in. If I recall correctly, this has its own little parking lot, so students should just be able to drive through without a problem. So 3, 2, 1, let's find out if this was the right choice. Ish! What do we got? Okay. Well, the basic plot for the basic high school looks exactly like this, and then school library gives our students a better chance of graduating for an additional $85,000. The extension wing increases the number of students available, and then the sports field is huge, and it's not letting me unlock it because we don't have the progression node for large parks. So what that has done right now is guaranteed that I'm not going to develop anything over here at all right now, with the exception of these blocks on this side of the road, because I'm not 100% sure if I can fit that right there. But we're going to find out, but there we go. But downside, money. We dropped down to 29,000, so we really do got to get on the ball with zoning. All right. However, this is a high school, and that does imply some level of urbanization. Whether it's a lot of urbanization or not, I don't know. We're going to slide that road there. We're going to do the same thing with these pocket parks as we had earlier, and extend it to let it connect to that. So, there we go. So that pathway now connects all the way through. We'll go ahead, zone in some more light residential, fill that in just nicely right there. And again, we're not developing anything down over here. We will come over while I think of it, and I'm going to get a tiny city park and set it to either side of our police station. And not just a city park, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get a couple of... How big are my chestnuts? Trees. For the record. For the record. Okay, we'll sit down. What are these? Hickory. Sit down some hickory trees. Right there. And a handful of bushes right over here for decoration's sakes to fill this in because I'm tired of looking at it looking so empty and sad. And maybe, just maybe, we'll sneak in a little greenhouse behind those parks. What do you think? And I don't think a hot tub by a police station is the best idea, but we can instead I think you could let me pop down a vending machine, but I guess not. How rude. Huh. Why am I missing something? Oh, that's what I'm looking for. And then a large fountain right over here in the middle of all of that, by that park, with a gazebo right over here too. Okay, so it almost looks like a small little city building, and I think I'm good with that. Okay, and I would love to put some, you know, buildings or whatever behind that, but we really can't because we really don't know what we got. Okay, we did get a new zone type unlocked though, and that would be over here under the residential tab, and that would be mixed housing. Mixed housing is wonderful because on the bottom floor you're going to have commercial buildings. On the top floors you will have residential buildings. This makes it great for mixed use areas because you'll have people living and working and doing all the things that they want to do right in that area. So bonus, you put down some mixed use buildings and then stick in some offices right behind it. It fits perfectly in almost every solution. Now, this game gets a little bit weird sometimes because it's going to build buildings and say like, well, hey, we have no car access. Because that building in question has a car outlet point behind, and maybe you can build a road there, maybe you can't. Maybe you want to, maybe you don't. It's up to you, but it's one of the quirks of this game. We'll go ahead, we'll be nice, we'll slip in an alley right behind there to get that to shut up. And it may not. We'll find out. If it doesn't, we'll bulldoze it. Let's save our game again. Alright, we've got a demand for low density residential. We'll fill it. And I'm just going to go ahead. Actually, no. We're not going to fill it right there. We're going to come over here. We're going to get a dog park. Is dog park good? No, dog park's about... Yeah, I don't like the ring park. And we'll go ahead and get a small little dog park. Stick it right in there. And then we'll come over and we'll fill in with our low density residential right through here. keeping it next to the schools and the other buildings. And right over here, we're going to stick in a pair of canopy-covered parks right behind that, just to give people something to do. Then we wait. And we do have an awful lot of empty space back here, and I do hate to waste it. So instead of letting these buildings develop naturally, we're going to come down. We're going to get a walking path right here. Oops. Shouldn't have done that, apparently. Yeah, should have done that. So, and this is where the game is being glitchy with. It wants to have these buildings face here, and I don't. So let's try to address that quickly. There we go. We unpause. Those buildings will be forced right there. There we go. And hopefully somebody will be able to move in right there. Alright, and then as we were, looks like that's messed up one of those buildings, but I don't want these to zone yet because I want those to be able to zone to their maximum limit. And like, you have to play hot potato a little bit. It's unfortunate, it's frustrating, it's a design flaw, and I don't know why that house is like, hey, I can't handle this. But that house is like, hey, I can't handle this. So we'll just delete and let that take. Okay. Alright, this is a bit of 4-lane right back up here, so instead of single housing units, I'd like to have multi. We'll go ahead and slide in a little bit more low rent housing over here, since that's what the demand seems to be for. We will put in a walking path right here, leading to that. And now that those buildings are developing, once these two corner spots, well, not corner, but once these two little mini sections develop, we'll put in something. Actually, right here, I take it back. I'm going to flip in some mixed-use housing right there. And then the second that all of these develop, I'll delete this pathway, which will re-enable zoning on Laurel Street, and then fill it in with a little bit of light residential. It's some hoops, it's annoying, it sucks. Let's turn up the speed for the sim. Take a drink. And now let's take a look and see what our people are complaining about, because they're not very happy with us. They're happy with the abundance of entertainment, and by entertainment they mean parks. They are happy that they are largely within walking distance to an elementary school. Those kids are going to have calves for days. They are not happy about the unreliable mail service, which is understandable because they have none. Same thing with internet service. Again, they have none. They're happy that they've got a little bit of wealth, not a lot. That'll increase as time goes. Abundance of leisure time. What that metric tells me is that they are able to quickly navigate the road networks to go from point A to point B. They're not spending all of their time commuting back from their office to their wherever. Yeah, a lot of them are commuting up here. Yeah, can't do anything about it. And yeah, remember earlier I was telling you about that highway bottleneck? Yeah, here it is. They're coming into the city. They've only got one way into the city. It goes right through one spot, and that's a problem. Can't deal with it right this second, but we will soon. So what can we... Oh, and unreliable healthcare coverage is a bug. They've got a hospital. Well, not a hospital. They've got a medical clinic. It's as good as it's going to get for them. Just for right now it is. Even when you start putting down major hospitals and everything else like that, they're like, but the medical stuff is unreliable. I live in West Virginia. Y'all don't know what unreliable medical is. Deal with it. Alright. So what can we build that will make these people a little bit happier? A small post office would be a good thing, and so would a radio mast. Radio mast is a lot cheaper, a lot easier to place. We've got two options, one that gives us a range of 1 km at 5,000 a month, and one that gives us a range of 1 km for 5,000 a month. Network capacity is the same, it's all the same. It just really depends on which one you like better. Do you want a building with your mast, or do you want just your mast? In the case of just the mast, it actually can be upgraded later, and we'll do that. Putting it over here will cover most of the city for as it stands. Basically, we need two of these at $50,000 total. We can't afford to because we do need to buy a post office. The post office is going to be $75 plus an upkeep for a month. So if I had to pick between the two, the post office is going to be better in the long term because it's going to be able to handle our whole initial village easily by itself. We will be putting down more of these, but this is something that generally causes a big headache for you. Now, they do produce a little bit of noise pollution. Thankfully, it's very low. It does need to be, the closer it is to a major road, the more service coverage you're going to get. It appears, I might be wrong. I'm going to stick it over here. The farms are in the way. So wherever I stick it, it's not going to provide full coverage for the city, but in this case, that's actually okay because it doesn't need to. We do have another smaller thing that we're going to be putting down that's going to cover a little bit of that. But we actually do need to have the post office to begin with. If I stick it right here, there might be enough room. Okay, this does have a small extension that I can include on it for an additional 30 to give it a little bit more stored mail room. What do I have that facing? Is that facing the street, or is it facing the gravel? It looks like it's facing the street. Let me double check. If it was facing the gravel, okay. Where it is fine. I don't want it to try to be unloading mail trucks off a gravel road. I'm a mean person, but no, I'm not that mean. Alright, but I mentioned I did have other ways to improve the mail coverage. I do. Mailboxes. They're super cheap. You plop them on your street, and your post office will send out mail collection vans to them. It's best to put them around where people are in general. At least I have found. I don't know if that makes any real difference or not. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure we get some up over here in our industrial sector. Put it in front of that post office. It's worth a little bit of experience here or there. And it'll help keep traffic down to a minimum. Because while the post office is going to be spawning traffic, we don't want people driving to the post office. And the further they have to walk to get to where they want to go, the better. Now we're getting the sim complaining about traffic a lot. All these new buildings, all these new families are all coming in through this point, and we're not at level 6 yet, so get ready for expansion. Alright, same thing down here. We did unlock crematoriums. They are expensive, we can't afford them, and we're not going to worry about them right now. They do what they say they do. For our purposes, for the moment, our parish church over here with 50 dead bodies in it, 47, is going to have to do for right now. But eventually, we're going to need to put down a crematorium, and probably sooner rather than later. Okay, we are earning money, but we've just about used up all the money that we had. And that's the problem with starting this game. Even when you go slow and you only build the services that you need, you will start to lose. But we're going in the right direction, even if slower than we'd want to. Alright, did we get anything new that we liked? We did unlock 3 new signature buildings, but it's nothing that's gonna fit very well in our city. Like this UK mixed suburban shops. Yeah, it would look good in a medium density residential area. Actually, I lied about every word that just came out of my mouth. It would look good in our city. It would look good right over here on the outskirts of where we're expecting to have high density residential. and near a school and near some mixed use. So let's go ahead and stick it in over here. And that'll have 10 households in it, plus it'll decrease the import costs in our city, make our city a little more attractive, and give a well-being boost to all these families around here. So that's good, plus the cost is nothing. So I can live with that. That may or may not cause a positive change in the city. Who knows? We'll find out later. Whew. Yeah, see, and like, here's what I mean. It's complaining that there's no car or vehicle access right here. And of course it does. I don't know why it's saying that it doesn't, but it likes to think that it's not. So we'll try this one more time right here for these nice people. We'll make sure that snap to the side of a building is on. And it connected one, but not all of them. And honestly, I got better things to do than to look at that flashing at me. So let's get rid of it. And I'm going to go ahead and block this spot out with another small road for future development. Alright guys, we're down to $70,000 and we're sort of running out of things we can do. We don't have enough money for our bus depot. We have enough money for a taxi depot, but quite frankly, who cares? Not me. We're short on funds. We have demand, it's slow, it's steady. And we've got a little bit more room, we can put some buildings down up here, and that's gonna have to be what we do. So all of those finally filled in, so let's get rid of this unnecessary path right here. Come over, we'll select medium density residential. Fill it in, fill it in, fill it in, fill it in. Although right there, I think, as much as I kind of don't want to, I'm going to look for a modest parking lot. And a tiny parking lot right behind all these apartment complexes. It's gonna suck for them driving on a tiny little alley to get into there for that, but hey, the real world is not always your friend. Okay, anything zoning in right there? Yep, should be space. Should be. Okay, and now we wait. But no, we're not waiting. Why would we wait? That's a silly thing to say. So, again, once more, we'll protect these buildings as much as we can by forcing the zoning, by building a path. I don't know about you guys, I feel like I need a roundabout here. Look, roundabouts in the real world are interesting devices. Sometimes they work really good for traffic mitigation, sometimes they don't. You can't often find people who know how to drive around them in my area. But this is not the real world, and it seems to make traffic flow better in Cities Skylines too when you use them at high density intersections. And while this isn't the worst intersection in the game, it's definitely one that's getting a lot of traffic right now. It's not helped by the fact that they put crosswalks every time they think that an ant wants to cross the street. Let's get rid of a few of these unnecessary ones. I mean, yeah, in some of these cases, people are going to want to cross the street. I get that. But if they want to cross the street, here, they can do it down here, and every time there's a crosswalk, traffic pauses. As it should. As it should. All right. One thing we can do to alleviate some of the stress up here is to come up to our highways. I know this is going to be overkill right now, but let me go ahead and extend this two-lane, one-way into a four-lane one-way. This is overkill, and this breaks the rules of lane mathematics. I will go into detail about what those rules are later, but for right now, this gives me an extra idea of how much no room I'm not going to have right up here. And in theory, if the AI in this game wasn't a gerbil, this would look a lot smoother. But we have officially hit gerbil AI. So I'm going to come over here, delete all of that highway. We're going to try this again. Highway, single lane, select. Drag it into the roundabout. And hopefully deleting those nodes will keep that from being such a disaster. But this does not make this a legitimate highway interchange point. This is bad. This is ugly. This is going to be a problem, and we're going to have to fix it. I don't know if we're going to fix it tonight, though. I'm already 40 minutes late fixing dinner. So, just to give you an idea of the basic highway systems in this game, we do have what you'd expect to see in the real world. We have things like dumbbell interchanges and single point interchanges. These, unfortunately, we'll be using a good lot of. We also have roundabout interchanges, which give me anxiety looking at them, and 4-level stack interchanges that take up so much space, plus basic things like a trumpet interchange, trumpet roundabouts, which by all logic should work, but it confuses this game to no end. And T-style interchanges, as well as other stuff that we'll be getting some use out of this game with, but just not right now, because the second that I put one of these down, we're going to have to buy up at least 2 tiles and then, remap our highway system. And we also don't have that much money. So let's put a kibosh on that and hold on that for right now. And I'm going to say that we've gotten a lot done tonight, haven't we? What have we done in this entire time we've been here? Well, we installed this gravel little parking lot down here, which isn't special, but honestly, I like the way it detailed up. It looks really nice. Hey, and there's even some dude in here chilling. Cool. Hey, Walter. How you doing, sir? All right. Oh, and his name was Walter, if you missed it. See? Walter Harley. He's an educated adult. He's a unicorn. We also... Please don't take offense. Anybody. We also laid out some... some low-cost housing and some mixed-use commercial residential housing. We unlocked offices. We put a few of them down somewhere up. Where did we put our offices? Yeah, got a few offices over here. We have our police station, firehouse. We withstood a tornado. We put in our high school over here, even though we can't fully unlock every aspect of it yet. And we expanded on our industrial. We also put in a couple of lumber facilities and the very, very ugly mining. And we did a little expansion with our 8-lane road going up that direction as well. And we have plans for the future, including building in the large extension over here. We're almost at level 6. I don't know. I'm willing to stick around. But even if once we get to level 6, we're still not going to be able to afford it. That's just the crux of it. So, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this here. Dinner is calling my name, which is kind of terrifying since it's frozen chicken and it shouldn't be screaming at me. And I'm going to say thank you all very much. I will be continuing this series on in the near future, showing you how to take a small profit like this and moving it up into something that's going to be sustainable so that you can start building the city of your dreams, no matter how much of it happens to be on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josh. Thank you very much for tuning into my stream. I do Cities Skylines 2, Dungeons 4, and Fallout 76. Have a wonderful night, a great weekend, stay warm, and if you do things other than video games, you're welcome to check me out on Amazon. I write fantasy novels when I'm not playing video games. And you can find me under Joshua E.B. Smith, author. Hey, just in case you need something to do. Thanks so much. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon.